So for us, native advertising is really built around what we do organically, and that is we create an enormous amount of content for our users, and we're a newsroom. So the process today is focused on creating content just as we would in our normally for brands, aligned around themes that are important to them. And the way we distinguish it is by making sure that it's transparent, so it's clear to the user that piece of content is sponsored. The opportunity with video, I think, with native for us is twofold. One, it's to and I touched on this before, but it's to include video in the stories themselves, which is something we already do. So when there's pieces of video that are relevant, whether created by us or created by the brand, we will embed that in the story. And then the second opportunity, which is one Andy just mentioned, is to use rich display to distribute that and use it as another mechanism to drive consumption of that content. We have a unit we launched about 8 months ago that basically ingests our content and associates it with a brand message. So we're running it just like any other ad creative, but it's large format, high impact, and it's pairing a brand message with our content, and that content can either be curated. So content we're already creating about a relevant topic for that brand messaging, or it could be content we created for that brand. And then what we have done in that unit is we're able to include video. So that's one way we've addressed that.
Let me just follow up on that. So obviously native advertising, content marketing, it's the buzzword. A lot of people in this room from the agency side are looking to you guys. Is it scalable? Is it just for you guys? Is there an opportunity to create this in scale, either from a production standpoint or a distribution standpoint, which could be outside of your site?
Oh, sure. I think it is scalable. I mean, certainly for us, we're already creating 900 pieces of content a day. So we've basically got that content creation engine up and running and building it out to accommodate the ability to answer the request that we're going to get for brands is completely doable. We created 5 stories for a client over 5 days last week, so it's the same sort of process. From a distribution perspective, to date, we have not gone beyond our audience footprint, and a big part of Daily Mail and in general is, other than our own channels on channels on social platforms like Facebook and Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and promoting on those channels where people subscribe for us, just the way we do our own content. We haven't gone beyond that yet.
Yeah, I think native for us at Slate is it's less features and more benefits. You think about that. Consumers don't want to be sold to, and I mentioned this before. They want to know how your products or services can enhance their life or make their life better. And I also want to kind of address, native and kind of content marketing, because I think these words are kind of molded together. I think up top is really content marketing, right? Native is really the distribution channel, right? We've done a lot of, tremendous, if you get a chance today, go to Slate Custom and take a look at some of the content marketing we've done specifically for video, with Audi, with MasterCard, with Adobe CQ. And this is like long form storytelling. We're showcasing the narrative, again, how we inform, inspire, and entertain. And if we don't do that, right, we go back to the drawing board. What I also want to say is we cannot take that 15 or 30 and recondition it for the web. When we create custom content for our advertisers, we spend a lot of time thinking about strategy and art design and art direction and production to create this content that users are going to create that emotional connection, that authenticity that brands are looking for. So we spend a lot of time thinking about that. And then the other thing is we've done a couple campaigns specifically with MasterCard with their Google PayPass wallet, where we created 3 60-second spots that they were so good that actually MasterCard put them on their YouTube page. We did some great programs with Marriott Renaissance through MEC with their Live Life to Discover campaign. We did an 18-part video series where the videos were so good that they actually distributed them to the local sales teams in the regional markets to use as sales collateral. So those are other things we're thinking about beyond just the campaign itself.
I think from our perspective, we look at this I spend my time looking at this from both sides. One, from a content creation from our assets at News Corp, I'm going to say a lot of the same things that you guys said, probably not as eloquently. That we have that sensibility in regards to creating high quality content. We've got depending on your brand, we've got assets across News Corp that speak to different audiences in ways that we can be of great value to brands. I think the other side of this in regards to what we're thinking about from a Storyful perspective is brands, agencies, the likes are all creating newsrooms of their own. They're hiring some of the smartest journalists out there to help them shape what their voice is. From our side at Storyful, what we believe is if you want to touch the social web, if you want to understand what the social web is talking about, we can supply you with not only that intelligence of what the internet is currently talking about, but also potentially that content that's out there, leveraging and using that content in some form or fashion. So it's something that's top of mind across everything we're thinking about.
You know, for us, we have almost 1,000 people in the company who are in the content part of our business, and a large number of them have great relationships with consumers by virtue of their many years of listening to them on air or in podcasting or engaging with them in local communities or nationally. An example of how we take that to life is, you know, last year, or actually it's this year, last year and this year we've run a campaign for a large fire, what do they call them, smoke alarm player who is distributed through all the big Home Depots and Lowe's and so on, where Kix Brooks, who's one of the largest names in country music, who's also one of our personalities, did a whole how-to video on how to install it, why you want to use it, and showed it being installed at his home, showed it being installed in his studio, and that was something that not only we promoted, but the actual brand promoted across all of their different distribution points. So, you know, for us, it's around using our great talent and tying that into whatever the brand or objectives are of the particular advertiser.
Cool. And finally, we got the 30-second pitch. We have the agency people here in the room. You guys are up here. Has online video really come to become a real business? What's the opportunity? I mean, where do we stand in terms of the evolution of digital video, particularly in news sites? And kind of, you guys obviously have this huge footprint now. But where do we stand, and where do you think it might go in the next 12 months in terms of the opportunities for brands around video?
Well, video for us is growing tremendously, just from a consumer perspective. So I said, we're currently, by way of consumption, the largest newspaper site as it relates to video in the world. And that's really happened over the last 12 months. And I think that will just continue to grow. We'll continue to source more video. We'll start to create more video. But I think on top of that, and I think we're hearing this across the board, I think we're getting more, there's more requests, there's more demands. I think brands are creating more video outside of their 15-second, 30 spots. They're looking for distribution platforms for that. So I think both on the consumer side as well as the brand side, we're hitting an inflection point where, if 20% of our pages right now, our stories have video, is that 80%, in 12 months? I don't know, but that's certainly where this is trending for us.
Yeah, and I mean, similar to Slate, again, I mean, I can't tell you, we're incredibly excited about the Teads relationship. I think I've mentioned it earlier. I mean, the fact that we could kind of double and triple and quadruple our inventory right off the bat is significant, and the fact that we've editorial behind it. On the custom side, as Matt mentioned, I mean, we continue to see requests for custom-based programs, and I feel like video is at least 80 or 90% of those requests. So as long as we can help those brands create quality content that connects with our audiences, and we can continue to work with editorial to help us write headlines and good thumbnail images, because we ultimately have to get people to these content. I think the opportunity looks rosy down the road.
I think from our perspective, video just continues to be a method of storytelling that our users are asking for, and puts us in a position where we can tell stories in different ways. From a distribution perspective and where we look to how we work with partners, we want to be where our audiences are, and we want to continue to introduce our traditional brands to new audiences and continue to develop those relationships the way that we've done for, frankly, hundreds of years when it comes to certain brands. From a Storyful perspective, it's just continuing to find the most engaging and valuable content from across the social web and getting it in the hands of our partners, whether those be traditional newsrooms, creative newsrooms, brands, or the likes. So video will just continue to grow and grow as a priority for us across everything we do.
We feel very strongly that video is a critical component for us creating the full 360 brands that we've set out to create on the backs of our great distribution and audio content. And what we've seen so far from growth this year and what we project through next year, we think we'll see a 10x in the amount of both pre-roll opportunities and in-page video opportunities for across all of our platforms next year. So we see this as a big growth driver for us and something we're excited about.